Hello friends, today we are going to discuss about part 2 of the first lesson of class 12 English, the last lesson. In the first session, we referred that a school going boy, Franz, and his description about his class teacher, M. Hamel. He was going towards the school. He was running as he was late. While going towards the school, he observed or he looked at the crowd. The crowd was going through the bulletin board, which was kept at the town hall. And one of the blacksmiths, okay, made fun of him, Franz, while he was going towards the school. And he called out his name and advised him not to go fast. But still he was running towards the school, and finally he reached the garden which was in front of the school, and he was out of breath. That means he was running so fast that he can't breathe properly. Now let us see the next lesson, the next paragraph. Let us discuss the next paragraph. And here in this paragraph, the paragraph begins with, usually when school began, there was a great bustle. Bustle means a lot of noise. So usually, this is the usual scene of a class. When the school began, there was a lot of noise, okay, bustle. Who made this noise? Not only students, but also people, which could be heard out in the street. So Franz tells us that that noise could be heard far from the class also. The opening and closing of the desk. So which kind of voice was that? And that is the opening and closing of desk. Lessons repeated in unison. That means all together, very loud, with our hands over our ears to understand better. And the teacher's great ruler rapping, that means striking on the table. So here Franz tells us that he found a lot of noise far from the classroom. And students are also making or shouting all together, and they cover their ears and they feel that they can know that topic or point thoroughly. But now it was also still. So these are the general situation of the classroom. But now, so the word usually is very important. That describes the usual scene of the classroom. But now, so what is the real situation that morning or that special morning? So it was also still. So everything was calm, peaceful. The classroom was very silent. I had counted on the commotion to get to my desk without being seen. Counted on, that means depended upon something for our benefit. So he wanted to take the benefit of the commotion since the class is making noise, and he will enter the class peacefully or silently without being observed by others or without being noticed by others, and he will occupy his seat in the classroom. But he was not succeeded in his intention. But of course that day everything had to be as quiet as Sunday morning. So that morning is compared here with Sunday morning. So what is Sunday? Sunday is a holiday. So there is no class, no noise. That means the classroom is silent. So that usual scene was just like Sunday. That means the classroom was silent. Next line. Through the window, I saw my classmates already in their places, and M. Hamel walking up and down with his terrible iron ruler under his arm. Through the window, while entering or before entering the class, he peeped into the classroom and he found or he saw that his classmates had already occupied their seats in the classroom, and he found that his teacher was walking up and down with his terrible iron ruler under his arm. I had to open the door and go in before everybody. So he gets frightened with this thought that when he opens the door, he will be observed by everybody, or that means every child and the teacher also. You can imagine how I blushed and how frightened I was. Blush, that means to feel ashamed. So he tells us that he was feeling ashamed of, what ashamed of? Being late in the classroom. and that's why he got frightened. Generally, when you go to the classroom late, and your teacher may punish you, so he must have that kind of fear also, that he will be punished in front of the classroom. Next paragraph, but nothing happened. M. Hamel saw me and said very kindly, "Go to your place quickly, little Franz. We were beginning without you." So he's surprised because there is a total change in the behavior of M. Hamel, his teacher. So whatever he thought had not happened. As soon as M. Hamel saw Franz, he told him very quietly, or he requested him to go to his place quickly. And further, he informed that they were about to begin the lesson without him. It was so kind of him. The next paragraph, I jumped over the bench and sat down at my desk. Not till then, when I had got a little over my fright, did I see that our teacher had on his beautiful green coat, his frilled shirt, and the little black silk cap, all embroidered, that he never wore except on inspection and prize days. But nothing happened. Okay, whatever he thought, nothing happened. He jumped over the bench and sat down at my desk. So as soon as he found that M. Hamel is so generous to welcome him in the classroom, he jumped over the bench and sat down at his desk. When he had got a little over my fright that means fear. So when he got frightened while entering, but now he was trying to be normal. So when he was normal, he found that his teacher was well dressed. Which kind of dress he put on? Beautiful green coat, his frilled that means folded shirt, and the little black silk cap. He found that cap on his head, all embroidered. That is, the black silk cap is also embroidered, that he never wore it. So he knew, friends knew, that when does his teacher put on such nice clothes? So when the day is the day of inspection and prize days. But he realized that today, that means that special day, was not of inspection day or not of prize days. So he was surprised to see the new attire or the new dress of the teacher M. Hamel. Besides, the whole class seemed so strange and solemn. He found that the classroom is also serious. Solemn means serious here. But the thing that surprised me most was to see on the back benches that were always empty. The village people sitting quietly like ourselves, old Hauser, with his three-cornered hat, the former mayor, the former postmaster, and several others besides. So generally what happens, that is general scene, that the classrooms, the benches which are back, the benches which are at the back side of the classroom remain empty. But today those benches were not empty. So that was the difference he found. So who were there on those benches, backside benches? The village people. And among these people, who were there? Old Hauser. Hauser must be the name of a person. And he had put on that three-cornered hat. One more person, that is former mayor, the former postmaster, and several other villagers were also sitting on the back side of the benches. Everybody looked sad, and Hauser had brought an old primer. He looked that everybody is sad, and he found that man Hauser, that he had brought an old primer. Old primer, that's a basic book for learning any language. So here, if we talk about English learning language, then we might have studied A for apple, B for boy, and so on. So he has brought the basic book for learning language. Which language? That is French language. Thumbed at the edges, and he held it open on his knees with his great spectacles lying across the pages. So he saw that the book was lying on his knees and with his great spectacles lying across the pages, and he went on reading, or he was going through that basic primer book. Let us see the next paragraph. While I was wondering about it all, M. Hamel mounted his chair and in the same grave and gentle tone which he had used to me, said, "My children, this is the last lesson I shall give you." So while I was wondering about it all, so he was totally surprised looking at this unusual thing in the classroom. M. Hamel was on the chair and in the same grave that means that serious tone his teacher is using and gentle tone which he had used to me. "My children, this is the last lesson I shall give you." So he announced, the teacher himself announced that day, that morning, and that lesson was the last lesson for all. Further informed that the order has come from Berlin. The order has come from Berlin to teach only German in the schools of Alsace and Lorraine. So he announced that an order has been issued by the head office that is in Berlin. That's the capital of Germany. Because that these two districts, Alsace and Lorraine, were occupied by Germans now. That is Prussia, old name. So that order was that. What was that order? That the new master comes tomorrow. This is your last French lesson. I want you to be very attentive. He announced that that day was the last lesson for their French language. And from tomorrow onwards, a new teacher will come in order to teach them German language and not French. So he requested the students to be, not only students, but the old people also to be very attentive so that they can learn their mother tongue properly in the last lesson. Today, we stop here and we'll discuss further lesson in the next session. Thank you very much.